Join us on Patreon and become part of our journey to uncover history's untold stories. Your support helps us create in-depth content, bring hidden narratives to life, and keep history alive for everyone.
The echoes of rebellion reverberate throughout history, but few insurrections are as compelling, yet as overlooked, as the Black Seminole Slave Rebellion of 1835 to 1838. At the height of American expansionism and the fervor of manifest destiny, an extraordinary and desperate struggle unfolded in the dense swamps and untamed wilderness of Florida. The Black Seminoles, a community of escaped African slaves allied with the Seminole Nation, embarked on a valiant, years-long conflict against the U.S. government and slaveholding interests. It was not merely a skirmish. It was the largest slave uprising in U.S. history and one of the fiercest battles for freedom ever waged on American soil. Yet, this rebellion is scarcely discussed in traditional history books. Unlike Nat Turner's rebellion, which lasted only a few days, the Black Seminole Slave Rebellion endured for years, encompassing hundreds of fighters and leading to widespread destruction, mass displacement, and a prolonged U.S. military engagement known as the Second Seminole War. Despite its historical significance, this rebellion remains largely forgotten, overshadowed by narratives of the Civil War and the broader abolitionist movement. This article delves deeply into the causes, events, and consequences of the Black Seminole Slave Rebellion, shedding light on the fearless warriors who refused to submit to the chains of oppression. Their story is not just one of resistance, but of resilience, leadership, and an unwavering commitment to freedom. To understand the rebellion, one must first explore the unique history of the Black Seminoles. The roots of this community trace back to the late 17th and early 18th centuries, when enslaved Africans fled southern plantations and sought refuge in Spanish-controlled Florida. The Spanish, eager to weaken British colonial power, granted asylum to runaway slaves who converted to Catholicism and agreed to serve in the military. As time passed, these escaped slaves integrated with the Seminole people, a Native American tribe composed largely of Creeks who had migrated southward into Florida. The two communities formed an interdependent relationship, with Black Seminoles often living in separate villages but maintaining close political and military alliances with the Seminoles. Over generations, they developed a distinct culture, blending African traditions with Seminole customs, and became formidable warriors in their own right. However, their relative freedom was constantly under threat. After Florida became a U.S. territory in 1821, American slaveholders viewed the Black Seminoles as both a threat and an enticing target for re-enslavement. Southern plantation owners pressured the federal government to dismantle Black Seminole settlements, fearing that their existence would inspire further slave escapes. These tensions set the stage for what would become a catastrophic and violent confrontation. By the 1830s, the U.S. government had escalated its efforts to forcibly remove the Seminoles from Florida under the Indian Removal Act of 1830. This policy, championed by President Andrew Jackson, sought to relocate Native American tribes to lands west of the Mississippi River, particularly in present-day Oklahoma. However, the Seminoles, along with their black allies, refused to leave without a fight. The rebellion officially ignited in December 1835, when a coalition of Seminole and Black Seminole warriors ambushed a detachment of U.S. troops under Major Francis Dade. Known as the Dade Massacre, this attack annihilated over 100 soldiers and sent shockwaves through the American military establishment. As the conflict escalated, the Black Seminoles took on an increasingly vital role, launching raids on plantations, liberating enslaved Africans, and burning down infrastructure to cripple the economic foundations of Southern slavery. The Black Seminole Slave Rebellion was unique in that it was both a slave uprising and an indigenous resistance movement. Unlike isolated slave revolts that were swiftly crushed, this rebellion became a full-scale guerrilla war. The Black Seminoles utilized the dense Floridian swamps to their advantage, employing hit-and-run tactics that frustrated U.S. forces. Their knowledge of the terrain allowed them to evade capture, while their alliances with the Seminoles ensured that they had a base of support and supplies. For nearly 3 years, the Black Seminoles and their allies engaged in relentless warfare against U.S. forces. They targeted plantations across Florida, freeing hundreds of enslaved people and swelling their ranks with new recruits. These bold actions alarmed white settlers and plantation owners, who feared that Florida would become a bastion of black resistance. The rebellion reached its peak in 1837, when a Black Seminole leader named John Horse emerged as a prominent commander. A skilled diplomat and military strategist, John Horse played a crucial role in organizing resistance efforts and forging alliances. His ability to navigate the complex dynamics between Black Seminoles, Seminole chiefs, and the U.S. military made him a key figure in the struggle. However, by 1838, the tide began to turn against the rebels. U.S. forces, led by General Thomas Jessup, intensified their campaign, employing brutal scorched-earth tactics to starve out the insurgents. Jessup also employed deceitful negotiations, capturing Black Seminole leaders under false pretenses and forcibly deporting them to Indian Territory. Despite their resilience, the combined pressure of military defeats, dwindling resources, and internal divisions weakened the rebellion. The rebellion officially ended in 1838, but its impact reverberated for decades. Many Black Seminoles were exiled to Indian Territory alongside their Seminole allies, while others managed to escape further south into the Florida Everglades or sought refuge in the Bahamas. The U.S. government continued to pursue fugitive Black Seminoles, often colluding with slave traders to recapture and sell them back into bondage. Yet, the Black Seminole Slave Rebellion left an indelible mark on history. It was the largest sustained slave uprising in U.S. history and demonstrated the power of African and indigenous alliances in resisting oppression. The Black Seminoles' resistance directly influenced later abolitionist movements and foreshadowed the broader struggles of the Civil War. Today, the legacy of the Black Seminoles lives on through their descendants, many of whom reside in Oklahoma, Texas, and Mexico, where some fled to avoid re-enslavement. Their story serves as a powerful reminder of the enduring fight for freedom and the lengths to which oppressed people have gone to claim their rightful place in history.